Aaron Donald speaks on the state of the Rams. UCLA's defense enjoys a little hitting during spring practice, and Lincoln Riley may have just dropped a big hint as to who the next running back for the Trojans is going to be. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is April 7th, 2024. It is a glorious Sunday morning, even in a place like St. Loser, Missouri. But because it's Sunday, if you believe in God as I do, take a moment and thank Him for the blessings in your life, like LA Sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means, comment. And by the way, we are going to wind up talking a lot about El Trafico, so we have an expanded scoreboard to get to. So, for example, Yoshinobu Yamamoto got his first major league win with 5 shutout innings. Max Muncy drove in 2 runs as the Dodgers defeated the Cubs 4-1. D'Angelo Russell scored 28 points. The Lakers knocked the bleep out of Cleveland, 116-97. Also last night, Adrian Kempe scored 2 goals and an assist with the Kings defeating Vancouver 6-3. By the way, the Kings overtook Vegas for 3rd place in the Pacific. They are 8 points up on St. Louis, which is the first team below the playoff line, but the Blues only have 5 games left. So the Kings might have clinched, all but clinched, their playoff spot yesterday. But we have to talk at length about LAFC defeating the Galaxy in El Trafico last night 2-1. Dennis Bouanga scored the game winner on a penalty that was an atrocious call. Atrocious. Having said that, I've got to be real with you when it comes to complaining about the refs. See, I don't like to do it, but I will say this. Analysts who were covering the game, bad call, they said. Reporters watching the game, bad call, they said. Players who weren't on the pitch, who were just watching the game just for kicks, bad call. VAR, bad call. In other words, VAR asked the ref to reconsider because VAR in the United States does not overturn a referee's decision. And the ref sticks with his bad call. Everybody not covered in LAFC gear saying the same thing. If you weren't an LAFC fan, you said it was a horrible call. And yet, the call stands. Now, what does that tell you? It tells me something different than what it tells a lot of people watching the game. What it tells me is you can't control the refs. And so what do we learn from that? It tells me that what the Galaxy can control, they should have. And what they did not address, and by the way, I am a Galaxy fan. You guys see me in Galaxy gear all the time. What it tells me is that the Galaxy can control, but still have not addressed set piece defending. The Galaxy have played 7 games. They have conceded goals 6 times on set pieces. 1 phantom, ugly, stupid referee's decision from a stubborn ref versus consistent, poor set piece defense. You're not going to surrender a goal a game due to bad refereeing. The Galaxy are surrendering a goal a game with bad set piece defense. What helps the team more if they correct it? Julian Aude, by the way, scored for the Galaxy, who lost for the first time this year. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are at the Chicago Cubs at 11 o'clock. Gavin Stone has no record. He has an ERA of 5.40. Shota Imanaga is 1-0 with no ERA for the Cubs. And Minnesota's playing the Lakers at 7. Now, let's get to the news. We've been discussing for weeks what the Rams would do without Aaron Donald. The one thing that they haven't done, that many of us have, is panic. So, kudos to the Rams for at least not panicking. Aaron Donald, though, went on a podcast that I don't listen to and gave his 2 cents, which I have to admit caught my eye. Here's what he said, quote, "On defense, I think they're in a good position right now. If anything, if I was to say one thing the Rams need just a little bit of help with, I would just say just the edge rusher. Just getting an extra edge rusher. I think the Rams are going to be a great team. It's going to be fun to watch. I think they've got all the pieces they need," unquote. Now, this surprises the hell out of me. It really does. Because if I were Aaron Donald, and if people asked what the Rams need, I would be an arrogant turd about it. I'd be like, what's their most important need? They need a new me. That would be my answer. But that's not what Donald said. Donald plays defensive tackle. Oh, he played defensive end as well, but he was a defensive tackle. So does what Aaron Donald say sway your opinion on what the Rams should do for the draft? If, for example, the best defensive tackle and the best edge rusher is available when the Rams pick at 19, and by the way, the draft is heavy on offensive skill, so that scenario I just painted could absolutely happen. They could have their choice of an elite edge rusher and an elite defensive tackle. Which way do you go? Do you say, well, this guy could possibly approach Aaron Donald to tackle, maybe I should take him? Or do I follow what Aaron Donald said and go with edge rusher? Yesterday, we spoke a little about how with UCLA's offense, it's going to be a slow build. And it's understandable. Chip Kelly had a very quirky way of doing things, but he was there for years, so everybody at least had an idea of what was expected. Now, Eric Bieniemy, he comes in as offensive coordinator, no longer has the stability and talent at quarterback that he had for years at Kansas City. So you throw all that together, and for the Bruins offensive unit, it's kind of like going from calculus to finger painting. I'm not saying that Eric Bieniemy is an idiot. I'm saying that you knew what you had to do for Chip Kelly. You don't necessarily know yet what Eric Bieniemy is trying to get across. Now, as a result, the defense is light years ahead of the offense during spring practice. The LA Daily News reported yesterday that the defense picked off the offense, intercepted obviously, the offense 4 times. They forced a bunch of incompletions. Moreover, the practices are starting to get physical. Now, they're not blowing each other up, but hitting? Yeah, absolutely. And as a side note, I got to tell you, it's just refreshing to actually see UCLA news in the paper or online now, as opposed to the iron dome of secrecy that came down with the previous coaching staff. It's literally as if Deshaun Foster went to Berlin and demanded, Chip Kelly, tear down this wall. It is so refreshing to finally see Bruins news. And one more item. Despite Colin Schlee entering the transfer portal, Deshaun Foster is continuing with the company line of not knowing who his starting quarterback is. He told the LA Times, quote, it's like 15 days to figure it out. Oh, hold on. 9 days to see if we want to address that. But I'm excited about the room. It's a deep quarterback room, unquote. Look, I've always said that coaches know way more about their sport than I do. I concede that. But not saying Ethan Garbers is your guy, you are playing with fire. You are playing with fire. The Bruins tried that last year, and look where it got them. Over at USC, I should say, Lincoln Riley, on the other hand, he has barred the press from watching USC spring practice, but at least he and the players have been available to chat. It's nowhere near as Chip Kelly ruling his domain with an iron fist. So you do get quality news out of Trojan Spring Camp. For example, Riley hinted that the top running back gig might go to Jaquavius Marks, who is a transfer from Michigan State. He gave a really strong hint. Quote, "We were excited. We targeted him right away. He was our top guy from the beginning. We just thought he was incredibly productive. He caught the ball well. He was really physical, tough runner. We wanted to get bigger and more physical in the backfield," unquote. Now, a couple of things from that quote. One, Riley wasn't precise about Marks being the top guy. Did he mean top guy in terms of the depth chart or top guy in terms of the transfer portal? Little vague, but it really seemed to indicate that Marks might be the bell cow back, as they used to say. The second thing that comes to mind, Rayleigh Brown, you might remember him. He was pretty hard to miss in his brief time with USC because every time he touched the ball, there was the opportunity that he was going to go for 6 points. He was that explosive. But now, if you take what Riley said about Marks, you can understand why Rayleigh Brown didn't stick at USC. The Trojans first tried to switch him from running back to wide receiver, and then they were like, whatever, they let him go into the transfer portal. Brown was lightning in a bottle. He was the lightning guy when the Trojans wanted thunder. Brown will never be that physical a runner. He just won't. Jason Hayward told the Scribes Friday in Chicago that there is no timetable for him to return to the Dodgers from lower back stiffness. He was put on the 10-day injured list retroactive to March 30th. He says it's progressing, but that it flared up because as a platoon player, look, if Hayward were a regular, his muscles, particularly in the lumbar region, where you're obviously twisting regularly, swinging the bat, that kind of thing, if you were a regular, those muscles would be looser because he'd be constantly using them, and they would be less susceptible to stiffening up. Now, he's not complaining about it. He's not pointing fingers. He's just realizing that that's the price of the job he took. The Athletic also is reporting that when the Dodgers saw Yoshinobu Yamamoto tipping his pitches in his first spring training start, they worked with him to try to hide the grip better. Now, as a result of their first bit of tinkering, those changes screwed with his mechanics for the rest of spring training and that disastrous start that he had in South Korea against the Padres. So now what the Dodgers are doing with Yamamoto is they have split the baby. Instead of Yamamoto setting up his pitches close down here to the belt buckle, they said, okay, if you want to set the grip with the ball closer, a little higher, then do it. Just change the grip there. So in other words, the ball is now closer to the letters on his jersey, and he's angled the glove differently to hide the grip. Now, we only have a small sample size, the game against the Cubs yesterday, and a start at Dodger Stadium last week. But Yamamoto has been bringing the goods now, so maybe it's solved. The revolving door of random arms getting called up to the majors for a day and then getting waived continues. The Dodgers recalled Gus Varland from the minors and then designated Dinelson Lamet for assignment. And I tell you, you can keep changing the names, but that story keeps repeating itself. It's almost as obvious as the sun rising in the east, because they're doing it almost every day. Lamet, a couple of years ago, was one of the most devastating arms in the NL West. He comes to LA literally for a couple of days, performs okay, 1 run in 4 1/3 innings, and all of a sudden the Dodgers are like, anybody want him? The Dodgers then turned around and acquired a reliever, Connor Brogdon, from Philadelphia in exchange for minor leaguer Benoni Robles. It took the LA Sparks 2 days to recognize that their former coach, Michael Cooper, was elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame. 2 days before you recognized your own coach or former coach in the hall. Slow clap for the ladies at the LA Sparks. I mean, he's not even the former Laker turned coach that you hate. That was Derek Fisher. You guys liked Michael Cooper. Show the man some respect a little quicker next time, guys. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. And if you're a Galaxy fan, you let me know what you think about the set piece defense or the penalty call. Do you buy into what Aaron Donald is saying about the Rams defense? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corta El Queso production. Take care.